Hey, Facebook Live, it is time for another Facebook Live. That's why we're here. It's good to see you. Today, I want to talk with you about a false little dichotomy that really I literally just caught a few moments ago because I was thinking about stretching and strengthening. I was thinking about all of this work to stretch outside of our comfort zone and whether or not it takes us out of our strength zone. And what I realized is, oh my gosh, the more we strengthen ourselves and stretch ourselves out of the comfort zone, the more strong we get and the more knowledge we get to be able to be more knowledgeable about our specific strengths and to grow in those strengths. So it all works together. I just had a fun little process of realizing as the light bulb came on, these don't work against each other. They work with each other. Isn't that great to know? So we're talking about really working and growing in terms of our personal growth. We want to be growth-oriented person instead of only goal-oriented people, because making that the end instead of the means to the end is going to kind of make us stillborn in our ultimate personal growth. If we're growing, that is process oriented, and that is going to be continual, and that's going to make us bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger. But if we say, hey, my goal is the goal, that's a little counterintuitive, because really the goal is growth, not the static goal. We want to keep on growing. So this is all out of the 15 invaluable laws of leadership, not what I just said too much. I mean, those were my words. If they were John's, it'd be a little bit more eloquent and elegant, but that's kind of my summary of it. But today I want to talk with you about law number 10. This is the law of the rubber band. And guess what I have right here? I have something that on a camera looks like a rubber band, and it's actually functioning like a rubber band, but it's not a rubber band. And this is not my point, but just so that you know, this is a scrunchie. I stole it from my wife's office because I couldn't find any rubber bands anywhere. But what I wanted to do is demonstrate, bam, ow, ow. Now, doesn't hurt that much. I'm being a little dramatic, but this is a rubber band, and sometimes you can stretch it, let it go, and we have some tension here, and let that thing go so fast, bam, it whacks you a little bit. And there's a way to stretch that is a proper way. If you go to the gym, they won't let you stretch and then let it all go. No, you'll have a cool down, and you'll release the tension gradually, and you'll have a cool down period instead of just doing a really strenuous workout and quitting at the end and whacking yourself and getting injured or something like that. You don't want to do that. So, I mean, this is the law of the rubber band, okay? There are all kinds of different principles that aren't really in the book that I'm kind of going in those areas right now. But the law of the rubber band, as it's written in the book, it says that growth is actually going to stop when you lose the tension between here and there. Okay, we're leaders. So leaders, I heard this from Bill Hybels in person in the Caribbean a few years ago. He said leaders go from here to there. Leaders say to people, we want to go out there, and we're here right now, but the goal is to go out there. And then once they're there, that's the status quo. And they say, well, there's a new place that we can go. And they set a new standard, and they go to that new place. And growth-oriented people are going to stick with that leader, and they're going to go the distance with that leader, and they're going to love that as soon as you get there, there's actually a new there, and that means new growth and continuous growth, and there's life and living things and freshness and all of that. But I mean, if you're in a management-oriented organization, I mean, there's really only one there, and that's often perspective or perfection rather than growth. So if you're used to change and you're used to, setting your sights higher, and you're used to, calling people forth and getting more done and being even more optimized and more high in their view, then that's a growth-oriented situation. That's a really good place to be. So this is the law of the rubber band. But you'll notice one thing, and that is tension. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of tension. There can be bad tension or there can be good tension. It might be an interesting study to think of all the ways, maybe poll the community. I'd love to hear your ideas on what's the difference between bad tension and good tension. I think one thing that we could say is bad tension is when it's super tense and then somebody just kind of maybe walks away and gets whacked and there's no resolution, there's no easing of the tension, and there's no safety there because somebody, just lets it go at the high moment of tension without providing some kind of perspective and smoothing things over. It can smart a little bit. And we really remember not what people say to us. Think of your leaders. Think of people that you're working with. We don't remember what people say to us, but we never forget how they make us feel. I mean, isn't that the case? So the leaders in our life are the coworkers, the colleagues, the managers, the clients, the suppliers, the vendors that leave us high and dry and get all this tension worked up, and then bam, we remember that sting. We don't care what they said to justify it or make excuses or anything like that, but we don't forget that sting. So what I'd like for you to do is realize that strength and stretching actually go together if you do it properly. If you do a proper stretch and let that thing don't let it go, but ease the lessening of the tension in a cool down period, you do that and you are going to have better relationships, less of a sting, less drama. Man, wouldn't it be a great world if we all did that? So, here's another thing that I realized, when we're stretching, we discover what our strengths are. When we stretch, when we're in this process of working out literally or working out or learning a new skill or being out of a comfort zone, when we're doing this, we actually see what we're capable of. And we're capable of a lot more than what we thought. My gosh, Mr. Accountability Coach himself, Dave Ferguson, man, he heard it straight from the mouth of Bill Hybels in the Caribbean, too. I was just talking about that, Dave. It's good being with you when that happened. I mean, it was just absolutely that leaders go from here to there, hearing that thing. And my gosh, we discover our strengths the more we stretch because we don't know the power that we have. So we do this little stretching thing and we stretch beyond where the comfort zone was. And a lot of times that becomes maybe a new strength for us or maybe a new strength on our team that we don't personally possess, but we can delegate or partner or cooperate with somebody. It's a great thing. And here's another thing. When we stretch, even if we're outside of our strength zone, even if we think we're outside of that zone, not just the comfort zone, but the strength zone, even if we know that we're absolutely no good at it, guess what? If we just do it for the sake, sorry about guess we got the fire whistle here. My gosh, hazards of the front porch. But if we stretch and we're like, I am out of my strength zone and I'm certainly out of my comfort zone. So instead of being the expert and instead of being the know-it-all and instead of being the person who has to be perfect and excellent and strong at everything, I'm going to be a beginner and I'm going to deliberately go into an area where I'm not strong for the sake of growing and learning and just becoming a beginner again. And that might be a great way to be equal and create a equality with other people and be able to touch that heart so that maybe in the future you can ask for a hand. What a great way to do that. Get way outside your comfort zone and outside your strength zone. Now, I've got a wonderful idea, a wonderful personal story that is going to illustrate this. It's coming to mind right now. When I was dating my now wife, Angela, and we're celebrating 8 years of wedded bliss next month. I mean, it's been a good run. I love her. She loves me. I kind of don't know why sometimes, but I just know I'm really blessed, so I don't want to mess any of that stuff up. I am a blessed man. And all the blessed men, who would say amen, they might amen me in a church or something right here, but we're not in church, so you don't have to amen me or anything like that. But here's what I did. I said, I want to get to know this girl when we're dating. See, we met on the internet. We met on eHarmony. Remember eHarmony back on the day? So this was about 10 years ago. And I wanted to get to know Angela so much that I did something absolutely ridiculous. Okay. I was so desperate. Okay, I'm not trying to look desperate, but I was like, what can I do that would make me kind of look a little bit more sociable and more normal than I really am, because I'm kind of not normal. I wasn't trying to be deceptive. I was trying to stretch. I was like, I'm willing. Here's what I said. I said, I am willing. I'm so willing to get to know this woman that, I mean, what woman doesn't like to go out dance? Yeah, I just said the D word, dancing. Now, if you know me, I mean, if you thought Elaine Bennis on Seinfeld doing her little crazy dance thing was bad, then you don't want to come see me dance. I do not dance in public. There are obscenity laws, okay? There are public drunkenness laws. There are things that you cannot do in public, and I don't do any of that. Now, don't think whatever you're thinking right now. All I meant is that I'm not a very good dancer, and I try to just keep that private because I'm not a very good dancer. I don't want anybody to see me. And it's not because of any ridiculous reason that you might have been led to believe based on the silly things that I just said. It's more that I'm just not, it's a skill that I haven't developed yet. So it's way outside my comfort zone. It's amazing once you talk about how bad a dancer you are and how you actually tried to dance in public, how many more people jump on the Facebook Live. I mean, this is just absolutely remarkable how it all goes. But it was outside my comfort zone. And I wanted to get to know Angela. Now, what I didn't know is that she didn't like to dance either, but because I asked her to the dance, she came, and we kind of were trying to fool each other into thinking that we could dance. And neither one of us could dance, and it was kind of awkward, but it was kind of a bonding experience, too, in a really weird, dysfunctionally, from a dancing perspective, a dysfunctional dancing way. It was very weird. And, somehow it all worked out anyway. I don't really know. But that was a great example of I went way outside of my comfort zone, and I was stretching. Here's why. It wasn't even because of Angela. It wasn't even because of that. You ready for this? This is going to get real juicy and awkward here, okay? So I decided I'll take Angela dancing. Now, I don't want to take her to nightclub. I don't want to take her to like a demographic of 20 and 30-something-year-olds, because the competition level is too high. So I looked and I said, where can I go to maybe learn how to be a better dancer? And this thing came up on Eventbrite. It was called, and this is so cheesy, it was called the Peppermint Club. Yeah, the Peppermint. Now, bad news, the Peppermint Club. I mean, what the heck? But it was a place I could take her. It didn't cost an arm and a leg. I wasn't going to be, mocked outwardly by millennials. And what I found out when we went to the Peppermint Club together is I found out it was out of my age group, but it was so far out of my age group, not younger than me, but they were the other direction. So if you can imagine people, and I was about, in my early 30s at the time, if you can imagine people who are more than twice my age at the time. I mean, people in their mid to high 70s, 80s, they were the ones at the Peppermint Club, okay? It was just kind of weird and awkward. It was really, and then what made it even more awkward is what you do at the Peppermint Club is you don't get to dance with the one that you brought, okay? They make you rotate in a circle. There are like 40 people at the Peppermint Club, and you have to, and they segregate you. You're not allowed to do this anymore. They segregate you by gender. So you weren't allowed to pick who you were going to dance with. They had the men and the women, and it wasn't, the same amount, because this was like 10 years ago. We didn't, feel the same way about gender being a little bit more optional and all of these social changes that we have now. So it was men and the women, not making judgments one way or another. I'm just saying we had the men and the women, okay? And I had to rotate and dance with a different 68-year-old, 72-year-old, 79-year-old woman, okay, instead of Angela, all right? Awkward, and she had to dance with all the men that were there, and there weren't that many men, so it was like we had to kind of cycle around. I don't know how we did it. It was awkward, and what made it most awkward of all was I was a worse dancer than the 79-year-old woman, okay? I can't believe I shared this stuff. The stuff that you guys make me say, you just pull it right out of me on Facebook Live. I'm dancing with the 75-year-old woman, and I am not good enough for her. Okay, she is not, and this is bad. I mean, I did this in college. I did this in grad school. I went to like a salsa night once when I was in Ohio, and I was in my late 20s at the time, and I wasn't a very good dancer then. I did it to force myself to do something new that I frankly hated to do, and I'm dancing, trying to dance salsa. I'm stepping on the poor woman's shoes and her feet and all of this stuff. And those ladies, the younger ladies, were nicer to me than the older ladies were. They were not very nice. They were, not very good in their criticism. It was not very constructive. It was just flat out criticism. So it was pretty crazy, folks. So anyway, I stretched. Okay, it was awkward. I stretched. Somehow, I still ended up with Angela. I don't know how it all worked, but I stretched, and I got not. In that case, I guess I could have worked on it. It's not a strength zone thing, but I got strong in terms of being able to, have relationship with people. So even if you're not technically good at something, and you're not going to be, it's a great way. My point is to connect with other people that see that you are worse at that than they are, and you're still willing to do it. And maybe your purpose for doing it is specifically to connect with other people because you are so bad at it. Isn't that the allure of reality TV, specifically Dancing with the Stars, right? Isn't that the whole point of Dancing with the Stars? You have Mr. T, okay? B.A. Baracus, Clubber Lang is on Dancing with the Stars. This guy can't dance. He can pop you into next week. He can't dance, but he did, and he did a decent job, and it connected with us all. I watched the replay. It was great. And he even brought his personal spiritual beliefs into it. And it was just really, he had a little platform for that. He connected with people. Didn't win. He got voted off eventually, but it was a great way to introduce to a new audience. I saw something on PBS. Imagine this. Tony Bennett on PBS singing the American Songbook. It was not on the phone. He was singing the American Songbook. And Lady Gaga, who does not sing the American Songbook. And they were singing. They were paired up together. What did it do? It cross-pollinated both of their platforms, both of the generations. And it was really Lady Gaga singing the American Songbook, Cole Porter and Rodgers and Hammerstein, all this stuff. It was great. I really enjoyed it because I kind of like that kind of music, but it was great. And she went out of her comfort zone or strength zone that we all knew and understood and used her vocal strengths and her artistry to be able to conquer a completely different genre of music with Tony Bennett and enjoy a huge boost. And it certainly changed the way that I saw her and thought of her as an artist. It's absolutely huge. So the law of the rubber band is absolutely huge because what you don't want to do is stop the tension between where you are and where you could be. What you don't want to do is stop getting out of your comfort zone, even if you suck at it, even if you're not going to be strong at it, like me dancing, at the Peppermint Club, getting reamed by, these older women, who were better dancers. They really were better dancers than me. So, I let them yell at me, but it was crazy. You don't want to stop exercising and stretching. And even if that takes you beyond what you think your strength zone is, I'm telling you, there are side benefits to that. And you're going to become so aware that there are other benefits, including connecting to people and just having a beginner's mind and not having to be the expert, not having to be the leader all the time, not having to know it all and have it all together and always be the point person anymore. Huge benefits for you, huge benefits for me. Just ask me, 8 years of marriage next month. And it probably wasn't because of the pepper. But that was just a nice little side benefit right there. Hey, if you're local, I hope you join me on the 10th of August at Wilmington Public Library, or if you have a dysfunctional team that needs to be functional. We're going to be talking about how to gain more influence to get more things done with less back talk and lip and delays and miscommunication, all of that. We're going to talk about becoming a person of greater influence than you already are. And we're going to talk about what is influence and how does it work and how does leadership work and what's management? Why is that kind of going on the way out? Why do we have to lead ourselves and lead other people? And it's absolutely huge because the library is partnering with me. I am not allowed to charge for that workshop. So it is, huge value. Now, I didn't get to just go and be able to teach this stuff because I'm Nathan. I did it because I bought the license to be able to do that, and I'm more than happy to give back for free, complimentary, because of the library and because we're in a situation right now where a lot of our funding in Delaware has been cut. So if you're in a nonprofit, if you're affected by that, just bring your team in, fill it up August the 10th, and come in September as well. Hey, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me to talk about the law of the rubber band. Take care, everybody.